So yeah, I was just telling Monica, we're going to try to emphasize the easy, gentle. I'm going to do that anyway on Wednesday mornings, but extra feeling just the long stretches and the breathing deeply. So that's what we're going to kind of hone in on today. You're welcome to amp it up as your body is calling you. But for starters, we'll find our seat and we'll pay extra attention to the foundation and allow the pelvis and the legs to settle here. And as that energy takes hold, there's an awareness there and a presence to this moment, a commitment to your experience and your breath. Take your next big breath into the lungs and inflate them like a hot air balloon. So you can feel that lift in the chest. You can direct the energy of your exhale down or just let it be a soft sigh of relief. And we'll take 2 more breaths with this attention and presence. Good. So let's start with extending the legs straight ahead of us. Nice generous bend in the knees as needed for those hamstring muscles. Again, reassess or refine the stability in your pelvis here. Stuck on a word. Palms down by the hips. We'll press into the palms and use the next inhale to breathe from the tailbone up through the crown of the head. So you feel that pull of energy upwards with the inhale. Let the exhale draw the shoulder blades together. So you stay engaged here, maybe even a little bit of effort in the core. So we'll take 1 more breath. Good. Soften that work in your torso and spine. Let's go ahead and bring the right foot to the thigh for a figure 4 here. So mirroring you. Hip points in contact. Try and always find that stability first and then breathe to lift up through your body as best you can. We're going to fold forward slowly towards that left leg. Bend in that knee as needed. And let your breaths be nice and long and full. I'm feeling this in the right side and hip a little bit, and my left hamstring and calf a little bit. Let your next exhale release the head and neck, and if you can feel that surrender, then take 1 more full breath in it. Rise up, bring the shoulders over the hips. Let's pause for a breath here, lifting up through the crown of the head. Exhaling, maybe a little lift to the sternum or drawing the shoulder blades back. Let's reach the arms out to a T. Turn the palms to face up and lift the chin slightly to encourage a stretch across your wingspan. Take 1 more breath into that space, maybe from the heart out to the palms. You might feel it. Good. And then let's draw the hands to the heart. Breath here, up the spinal column. Your exhale to turn your torso towards that right knee. So I'm pressing my palms together and I'm aligning the palms with that knee. Keeping the prayer hands here at the sternum. I can also press into the sternum. So palms together, hands into the heart, and that alignment with the knee. A nice, gentle, but active twist. We'll stay here for 1 more breath. And then with an inhale, let your arms expand. So a T here, if you can manage it. I'm going to go cactus arms with my backhand here just for space, but I want you to expand if you can. Same work to breathe through that wingspan. Yeah, one more breath in. The exhale leans you forward towards that left foot. Maybe you can grab a hold of the toes of the foot. Maybe you just let that left hand come down on the shin or the thigh. And now tune into what your body is feeling on the right side. So from that right hip up along the side body through the ribs and the shoulder and even my neck, I'm arcing to invite space. And then breathing to expand those spaces. One more breath. Your inhale brings you up, still facing that knee. I want you to keep the spine twisted and wait for an exhale to unwind back towards the center. We'll breathe in here, breathe out, and then switch out the cross of your legs. Just moving slow and easy. Settling your seat on this other side, offering yourself a bend in that left knee, no problem. Breathe up the body from that foundation and then exhale to fold forward towards that left leg. So a softening into the fold, settling in the head and neck. I think at least 2 more deep breaths. Let me feel it out. Breathe into all those spaces you're creating here. Let's make it 1 more. Rise up with the inhale. Exhale to sort of feel that settling down through the seat. And then inhale, let the arms expand. You could keep it nice and gentle, or you could bring the palms farther back behind you. So drawing the backs of the hands sort of behind the rib cage. I'm going to keep mine at about even and turn the palms up. Breathing to lift up through the sternum and lifting the chin offers a nice subtle stretch in the chest here for me. I'm going to take 1 more breath into it. And then draw the hands together as you bring the spine back to neutral. We'll breathe up through the body and use the exhale to twist. So palms pressing together, turn the body towards that left knee. Palms pressing together, pressing into the heart and lifting up all of that effort to any degree. Next time you inhale, let that expand your arms out. So that same shape, but just at this twisted angle, right? Maybe lift up the chin, find that same space in the heart. 1 more breath. Good. Last inhale here as you neutralize the spine in the twist. So the exhale takes you forward for the side body stretch. So leaning into it towards the right, maybe grabbing for the foot or letting that hand settle in the leg somewhere. So I'm keeping my, what would be your left hand down for these. It just feels good to bring that palm to the hip. But you can lift that arm up and over if you are so inclined. And I'm sorry I didn't mention that on the other side. Let's take 2 more breaths. All the way up from the left hip up through the left earlobe. Maybe beyond. With your next inhale, rise up, still facing that knee. And then bring your body forward. Deep breath here. Open mouth, exhale. Both legs extend. I want to do 1 more staff pose here. So we started with this. Both legs extend. I have a little more flexibility in my hamstrings already, but the palms will come down by the sides if they reach. Use that pressure of pressing into the palms to lift your body up. Feel that rise and lift through the crown of the head, and then wait for an exhale to draw the shoulder blades together and down. You can even bend into the elbows here. Little bit of effort to hold your body in this way, but we're going to take 2 more breaths into the brightness of this optimal posture. 1 more. Good. So in the spirit of gentle yoga, I'm going to let you keep your hands down, but you could lift the arms up towards the ceiling if you were craving more of a full body stretch here. I'm going to start my forward fold with the arms down and pivot from these hip points to draw the torso forward. When the lower back starts to kick in, when you're aware of that effort back there, start to redistribute the weight and try and round the spine so it's more like a cat shape in the body. Head drops heavy. There's a softness here in the lower back and the spine and also the hamstrings. Let's take 2 more breaths. Good. Inhaling to rise up. Exhale from the crown of the head down into the sit point. See if you can feel that line of energy just reestablish itself in your frame. And then we're going to take it into a heart opener. So the palms step back about 4 to 6 inches. They'll still be under your shoulders. So you're going to start to lean back. The deeper you go, the more you will experience here. So mind your own angles. When the palms settle behind you, breathe in from the hip points up through the body, trying to find that same line of energy at this angle. Take another breath. Use the exhale to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale to lift the chin towards the ceiling, maybe allowing the skull to drop heavy behind you, only if your neck and shoulders are on board. We'll take another breath across the chest. Emphasizing this heart opener here. Let's make it 1 more. Yeah, we'll come back to this neutral, bringing that straight line of energy back into this upright alignment. And then let's come to tabletop, hands and knees. All right, so I actually want to do cat and cow in a slow motion fashion today, and we'll take a couple of breaths in each shape. So let's start with cow shape. Inhaling to drop the belly, lifting the chin. I'm pressing into the palms to lift up through the sternum a little brighter. That's my inhale, and then exhaling here. Feel a release in the upper body, the spine, the shoulders. Just take 1 more full breath in. And out, that full cycle. So ride your wave here. And then a last inhale so that it's our exhale that transitions to the cat shape. So once you arrive here, fine tune, feel your angles, find your stretch, and then take another breath, inhaling fully. Exhaling here, feel a softness in the core, the abs, chest. 1 more full breath cycle. And then we'll inhale to cow. So belly starts to drop, that really intentional transition here in slow motion. And exhale as you arrive. Another full breath now, in and out. Ride your own wave. Experience both sides. Last inhale, just so that it's our exhale that takes us there. And last side here, so full breath cycle as you arrive. Let's take 1 more full breath cycle here. Last inhale. Wait, and then we'll just exhale back to tabletop neutral. So I want to play with some side body stretches here. If the knees are feeling tender, you can give me a shout out or bring blankets or towels under the knees. I'm going to keep going. So we're going to walk the hands off of the long right side of the mat. And we're looking for a stretch in the left side. So try to draw that left pelvis back so it stays over that left knee. And then press into the palms and pull from that left hip up through the left shoulder. Oh, baby, I just found something pretty good. I'm going to take a long breath. One more here. Use your exhale to look forward towards the front of your mat. And we're going to sweep the left foot around to a low lunge. So it's a little bit confusing, but not much to it. It's just find your way to a low lunge if I lost you there. So here I'm going to play with half splits and lunge flow in a very gentle way. So we will inhale to extend, or excuse me, let's exhale. We'll breathe in this half splits. My apologies, my brain is moving too fast. Hips over the knee. We'll take an inhale here. I actually want to give this hamstring a little more love, so we'll do that flow in just a sec. Give yourself a couple more breaths to lengthen into that hamstring. Find your own angle and maybe allow your torso to melt deeper if you need that. So I'm going to take one more breath. If you went deep, use an inhale to rise out of those depths, and then exhale to walk yourself forward to a low lunge. Now, as we exhale, I want to get into this quad, so we'll stay for a couple of breaths to find this as well. A couple of full breath cycles here with attention in that right quad and hip flexor, maybe the right side of your torso here. Try to feel a stretch there. Inhaling here. Exhaling here. And then I want to inhale very slowly back to that half splits. And exhale very slowly back to that low lunge. Let's do two more. So it's this work between the hamstring on the left, the quad on the right. I sort of feel like a pair of scissors here for some reason. Try to keep a brightness in your chest and a length in the spine. Breath steady for one more round. Good. And then if you can plant the palms, I'd like to tuck the back toe and lift the knee just to energize a little bit through that heel. So press into the toes or the balls of the feet, the right foot, and draw that heel back or press that heel back if you can. A little bit of engagement in the leg with a lot of support in these other three limbs. Take one more breath. And then find your way back to tabletop. So for me, I can just scooch that leg back, no problem. Align myself. If it's a little more complicated for you, find your way. Meet me here. Take a breath. We're going to walk those hands off the long left side of the mat now. So the hips stay where they are in space. As you arrive, palms or wrists more or less under the shoulders. Draw that right hip back. Awaken that stretch in the waist there. And then press into the palms and breathe from that right hip up through the right shoulder. One more full breath in and out. A last inhale as it rises, and then use your exhale to look forward towards the front of the mat. To spot your landing here, you'll see a little clearer. I'm just sweeping this right foot around, so it looks trickier than it really is, but find your way to low lunge, and then let's work through these two shapes. So we'll inhale here, and exhale to our half splits. And you are welcome to fine tune, find your depths here over the course of the next couple of breaths. Middle of the hamstring muscle, of course, so maybe a bend in that knee as needed. I'll give it one more full breath cycle. And then we're going to transition to that low lunge with an emphasis on the left quad now. So support yourself in the front here. but allow your attention to move into that left quad and left side of your waist. Try and feel something here. Take one more breath into that space. One more. Let's make it one more. I need it. Good. And then your next inhale, we'll bring it back to this half split. It's nice and easy. Don't work too hard here. We don't want to snap the hamstring like a rubber band. Exhaling forward then to your low lunge. And we're just making that play between these two edges, between these two depths. Right side, hamstring, hip. Left side, quad and hip. Like front, outer hip and fronter hip. Last one, I think. I may have lost count. Feels good. And then as you complete those 3 sort of cycles, you'll bring the palms down and tuck the back toe, lift the knee. So I'd like you to press into the heel or back into the heel to awaken more along the front line of your leg. You'll feel energized and active. One more breath. And then make your way to tabletop, hands and knees. Let's do a cat and cow here, just the regular. Inhale for cow, exhale for cat. I think we'll do some lizard stuff here. So let's stick with this theme of walking the hands off the mat, but let's start with a commitment to the space from our waist down. So in your tabletop, hands and knees, take a deep breath in, maybe eyes closed or attention on your legs and your pelvis. Exhaling here, make that commitment to pause or freeze your body from the waist down, or the hips down, we'll call it. And then wait for an inhale to walk the hands off of the right side of the mat. So with that extra attention on keeping the hips locked, I'm not walking my hands quite as far, but I'm actually encouraging or creating a much more intense stretch. So you find your own balance between that intensity and the ease that you may have felt earlier. And we'll take one more breath into it. For your last inhale, let's breathe up the front of the body, lifting a little bit like a cow shape through the chest. Use your exhale to look forward towards the front of the mat. And this time we're going to lizard pose. So that left foot will slide or sweep to the front, but only to the outside edge of the mat. And then the hands walk inside. So say hello to your inner groin here. You can bend into that left knee to go deeper. I'll give you a couple breaths here. Maybe you feel like coming down to the forearms. Optional. Let's take 2 more breaths. Use your next inhale to rise up. We're going to exhale to let the hips come back for a variation on that half splits. And I'm going to keep this left foot planted. So that's optional as well. I am liking the sensation that brings me, but the flex of the left foot could bring you what you need. So permission to feel that out. Make your own choice intuitively. We'll take one more breath into that left hamstring. And then shift forward back to the lizard pose. I want to sweep this right foot to the long left side of the mat. So this is sort of like side angle. If it feels too intense, you can back that leg up or just move on or undo and go back up. But I want to allow for the space here, walking the hands off of the long right side of the mat, like a heart melting pose. Maybe a downward facing dog. So there's just a lot going on here. Just take one more breath. And we'll walk ourselves out of it. Sweeping that right foot back around. Let's tuck the back toe and lift the knee. That same sort of work to press through that back heel, maybe awaken a little something in the ankle and calf on that right side. Ever present work in the left as well. Last breath. And then I'm going to go ahead and step back to plank pose to find my way back to tabletop. It actually feels good to give myself a little power up here, surge of energy with an inhale, and then I'll come down to my knees. I said all that. I should have given you permission to skip ahead. But here we are, hands and knees. We'll do the other side now. So deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Try to lock your hips in place. Your legs and hips are stuck in space, and your arms walk to the right. Awakening that side body stretch to any degree. Back it off if it feels too intense. Keep a steady breath in the body. We'll inhale one more time here. You know what? Exhale here. Let's make it one more. Change my mind. So this is your last inhale whenever it rises. We'll exhale to look forward towards the front of the mat, and then inhale to sweep now to lizard pose. Just the outside edge is far enough. Walk your hands inside of that right foot and find the inseam on the right side. So gentle, early start of the day. I'm not going to go any deeper, but Monica, you may feel compelled. Your body's already plenty warm. Move with your own intuition here, honoring your own edge, your own sweet spot. We'll call it one more, but please move with your own breath and body. If you want deep, use an inhale to lift your torso back up. And we'll exhale to draw the hips back to this half split variation. So again, I'm keeping that right foot down. That's my choice. I'm offering that to you, or you can flex your foot if you prefer. We'll take a couple more breaths into this right side. Feels good. I'm going to go ahead and come on out of that back to the lizard pose. Sweep this left foot, pivot from the knee to sweep this left foot open. Sort of a wider side angle. Figure out if that's going to work for you. And then if you can move deeper, you'll walk your hands forward off of the long left side of the mat. Feels like heart melting pose as you're sort of walking your hands forward, but it's a lot different shape. So stay mindful and present to your body's experience. Breathe deeply. We'll take one more full cycle. And then back it up and move yourself back into that lizard pose. We'll tuck the back toe, lift the knee, just for a surge of energy through that left heel. Feel that awakening in your leg. That may be plenty here, or you can add to that by surging energy through that right heel as well. Plank pose. So both my quads are kind of powered up here. I'm not going to call it locked in my knees, but there's definitely a lot of engagement. One more breath. And then back to tabletop. Let's make it a child's pose this time. Knees could come wide. Hips back. Thighs can stay together or come together. Arms can extend forward. Lengthen that side body, or you can relax the arms by your side. Let the forehead rest. We'll take two more breaths into what you've found here. Good, and let's now bring the hands to prayer and draw the hands behind the head. So this is a stretch for the triceps. If you can get there, the palms come behind the head, fingers pointing towards the neck. And if you haven't felt the stretch yet, you might scooch the elbows forward towards the front of the mat, or maybe walk the elbows closer together. We'll take one more breath here. Good, and then release that work, hands to the ground. And we'll rise up. So I'm craving a lot more work in my quads this morning. I'm going to have you pull forward to your belly so that we can work on that. And for the sake of gentle yoga, let's make it a hug the earth. So let your favorite cheek find the floor. Wiggle your hips a little bit to find a softness in the lower back and the glute muscles. And then inhale to let the right knee slide out to the side. So the arms can come out to a T. It can be a cactus arm situation. Just let it be something that allows for a sense of expansion and rest. So we've done some inner groin work. I'm not feeling quite as much as I usually would. I'm going to hike the knee a little higher and straighten my right leg until I feel that sweet spot. One more breath here. Then I'm going to bend the left knee and kick that left foot towards the ceiling. And just that move enough is giving me some feels in that left quad. I'm going to windshield wiper that foot back and forth. Be circling. And then if you feel inclined, you could grab for that left foot and offer yourself a bind here. So I'm using the right arm, but it could just as easily be the left. Just ask yourself if the bind is in order and see which arm volunteers in your body and your mind and your intuition. Have that conversation if you can. And if your body's like, are you crazy? Then that's okay. That's the answer. Not for you today. I'm going to take 3 more breaths here at my edge. Hopefully you've discovered yours. Last one, rising now. And release. Let's bring the right leg back into center. Forehead down towards the floor. We'll take a baby cobra here. So I say forehead down towards the floor so that there can be a spinal alignment all the way up through the crown of the head. We'll bring the palms to plant and kind of press into the mat on the sides of the chest, just at the shoulders. So another breath in, up through the spine. Another breath out, pressing down into the palms, drawing back through the elbows and the shoulders. And just that energy alone has lifted my chest a little bit, but the inhale finishes the job. Reaching up through the crown of the head, that engagement in the chest, shoulders. Let's be here for one more breath, engaged. Use your exhale to release. You can come to the opposite cheek if you'd like for the hug the earth on the other side. We'll let the arms come back to a place of rest and expansiveness. Left knee out to the side now for hug the earth. So you're looking for that stretch in the left inner groin. Something that gravity can kind of manage for you as you settle your body into this shape. Probably about 2 more breaths to get settled here. And then if you're ready, you can bend that right knee and lift the right foot towards the ceiling. So just notice what happens there. If you can feel those joints pulling on the quad to lengthen. And then moving that foot back and forth or in circles for more of an observation on the mechanics of this movement. All this work may be sweet enough, or you can go for that bind at any time. Bending the knee a little deeper, grabbing for that foot with either arm. Have that conversation. Only 2 more breaths, timing wise. Feel it out in your own body. Drawing the left knee back to center and eventually aligning the spine back to neutral. Forehead faces down. We'll draw the palms by the sides of the rib cage and another slow motion intentional cobra pose. So just like those cat and cows earlier, just give yourself permission to really move through this in a slow and deliberate way. Feel your body leading you into that cobra. And then as you arrive, try and stay for a full breath if you can. More if you're feeling empowered to do so, but wait for an exhale to release. Favorite cheek to the floor, whatever feels good. We just take a full-on deliberate rest here so the full body relaxes. One more breath. So I want you to take a slow and steady transition to your back body. So it's more or less just rolling over, but if you're going to stay on your mat, it's a little bit more complicated than that. But fastest way to our back body. So we'll just roll over. Find our way down here. Let's plant the soles of the feet into the earth. A deep breath in and use the exhale to press into the heels and lift the hips. So another chance for a heart opener here. You can emphasize the work in the shoulders and the chest. You can emphasize that space in the spine or that space in the hip flexors and pelvis. Just all based on sort of the angles and the effort and the engagement that you provide here. So we'll take one more breath into all of those things, any of those things. And then lower down slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Draw your knees to the chest, tight squeeze. Extra tight squeeze if you can manage it. We'll even breathe from the tailbone up the spinal column, inviting length through each vertebrae, and then exhale to lift the forehead or the nose towards the knees. So a nice rounding here. One more breath. And then exhale to lower the head down slowly, one vertebrae at a time. So just like that bridge pose, except we're working up the spine this time. Last inhale. Exhale your knees to the right. Breathe in here. And then exhale that left side towards the left. Just opening up a twist. The breath into that left outer hip. Next breath, maybe into the spine or up the spine if you can visualize it. And a final breath here into the lungs, the chest, and the shoulders. So feel it in the neck, the arms. Oh, that felt good. I'm going to take one more breath just to enjoy what happened there at the end. And come back if you're ready. But I'm going to move now. Inhaling, bringing the knees back to the chest, and then exhaling straight over to the side. If the spine feels sort of vulnerable this morning, you can pause in the middle, give it a little more time to neutralize. These are relatively simple twists, so it should be okay to honor your own body. Once you arrive, let's use an exhale to open up that right side. So the arm and the shoulder kind of softens to the right. And then we'll take those 3 breaths. Inhaling first into the outer hip on the right side, the glute muscles. And then from the hips or the tailbone up the spinal column, feel that rise and that space in each vertebrae. And then the last breath or the next breath into the lungs. So a nice full breath like that hot air balloon. Sense of your lungs expanding, and then exhale to soften here. Oh yeah, pretty good feeling on this side. So you're going to take in the last breath to enjoy that. Feel free to move on. So worth it. Glad I stayed. I'm going to bring the knees back to center. We're going to go ahead and come down to Shavasana, 844. Monica needs to hop off for her board meeting this morning. So I'm not sure about you, Eileen, but we're going to go ahead and call it. Bring your body to your Shavasana. Make adjustments and scooches and wiggles as needed to find more space and relaxation for the lower back. Same work in the chest, letting the shoulder blades find their weight under you in a supportive way. Once you've kind of checked into all those usual offenders, made them as comfortable as possible, then maybe those physical irritations, I want to call them, or distractions, won't interfere as you allow your body or your mind, your presence, to go deeper. Try to settle all those physical things. And then invite that final breath to fill up your body as slowly and as deeply as you can. Watch that breath swirl inside of you. Feel it energizing that presence, that spirit. And then when you're ready, a full exhale to release the sort of physicalness of the breath as a gesture of surrender to this final rest. Linger here where the body is still and heavy, but your presence, your life force, or your active mind, all of the things that make you you are still present here, still alive and well. See if you can commune with that for just a little longer. With your next breath, rise consciously to fill the body again deeply, and maybe let that breath swirl inside of you a little bit. Maybe a softer exhale, and then a return to a steady breath. We'll bring movements into the fingers and toes as we come back to a state of movement, activity, living. Deep breath here. Full body stretch. So stay for another breath if you need it. Maybe initiate a yawn here as you're stretching, and then find your way to a comfortable seat or that steady seat. So Monica, 8:48, if you need to hop off, I understand, but I'm going to do the aromatherapy here with Eileen.
Thanks, Angie. Bye.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. See you Friday.
Too.
We'll settle ourselves in a seat. Aromatherapy if you've got it. Just the energy work if you don't. Palms can rub together until you feel heat and vibration, tingling, whatever it is that you can connect to. And then once you find that feeling, then see if you can feel it even more. Make it even more concentrated or a stronger sensation. And then think about this as all the energy you've cultivated in your practice in the palm of your hands. You can use it any way you like. I recommend self-care in this instance. So I'm going to bring my palms just to the face and take a deep breath with the aromatherapy. Or let that tingling energy make its way to the face, sort of cleansing all of those sensory openings. You can tug on your earlobes or give yourself a little massage in the head and neck. I like to palpate a little pressure with my fingertips along the base of the skull. It feels really good. But you may know your own sweet spots, so take 2 or 3 more breaths, just exclusively in this work of self-care. Last one. And then bring your hands to relax on the knees or the thighs in a way that lets the shoulders soften here. Find or connect with that stability in your seat, and then breathe from both hip points up along the spine through the shoulders to lift up into a sweet alignment here. Take another breath to thank yourself for taking this time. This moment to connect with something deeper than your physical body or the outside world around you. And we'll take one last breath together, deeply inhaling. Open mouth, exhale. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Your presence truly is a gift. Namaste.